The office had no shortage of moments that filled our hearts with warmth and our eyes with tears. Even me, who never reacts emotionally to anything, The Office gets me from time to time. So I wanted to start a brief series on the heaviest hitting, heartwarming moments in the series. To start us off, I wanted to focus on Michael Scott.
Michael Scott.
Early Michael is a source of cringe and friction in The Office. With a somewhat jarring jump into relatable in season 2, he began to win over fans as more than just the main character in the sitcom, but also as someone to root for. While staying true to his cringe-inducing shtick, he slowly became the heart and soul of the show. So let's dig in and take a look at the moments that brought us the feels with Michael. Spoilers ahead. Let's start with a deep track.
No hits, deep tracks only.
First up is nestled late in season 7's Koi Pond. After being relentlessly made fun of the entire episode for accidentally falling into a business lobby's poorly marked koi pond, it's revealed that Jim could have saved Michael the entire time.
Oh. He purposefully leaned away and let you fall.
The drama and cringe is the highlight of this episode, but the hurt brought by betrayal is written all over Michael's face. As the episode nears its end, Jim is getting his comeuppance from Oscar and Meredith.
Jim, I think I'm in your way.
Michael, reading the opportunity to lift Jim up when Jim let him fall earlier in the day, takes that opportunity and not only encourages Jim, but adds a solid dad joke on top.
Oscar's a douche.
He's alright.
No. He's alright.
Thanks, Michael.
You're welcome. Whoa! Almost fell.
Like I said, is a very deep reference, but it's a subtle moment like this that establishes that when Michael has the opportunity to do the right thing for his people, those moments define who he really is as a manager. And speaking of that, way back in season 3's business school, Ryan invites Michael to a speaking engagement for one of his classes.
If you bring your boss to class, it automatically bumps you up a full letter grade.
Ryan seems awfully prepared to tear down Dunder Mifflin's entire business model and throw it right under the bus as an introduction to his boss/guest speaker.
Dunder Mifflin can't compete with the modern chains, and management is unwilling or unable to adapt.
Bold strategy, but saving face is what Ryan is good at. The speech, as well as the Q&A session, go over about as well as what could be expected in the Office universe.
What do you say to a customer who wants to leave you for the convenience and savings of a nationwide chain?
How far has your Herfindahl index declined since the merger?
By your own employees' calculation, you'll be obsolete in the next 5 to 10 years.
Wait, Ryan said that?
While Michael is furious, rather than firing Ryan, Michael gives this impassioned speech.
Good manager doesn't fire people, he hires people and inspires people. People, Ryan. And people will never go out of business.
We've seen Michael struggle with firing people in the past. And this moment with Ryan does give us a little clarity on the philosophy that motivates Michael Scott. He leaves the office and immediately goes out to create our very next heartwarming moment. Pam was gently marketing her art show all day at work, but the only people who show up is her quasi-boyfriend at the time, Roy, who admittedly only appeared to earn points, as well as Oscar, whose boyfriend absolutely shreds this young woman's artwork, which is just a weird take. Pam's feeling pretty defeated though, and rightfully so. You put your stuff out there, and it's like a piece of your soul. It's just out in the ether for anyone to just crap on. Then Michael shows up. There's no pretense, there's no flattery, there's just appreciation.
I'm really proud of you.
And one of those things that fans have appreciated about Michael is his business sense. From closing sales in season 2, Michael was purposefully shown to be apt at his job to make it believable that a buffoon like this could keep a manager position in the first place. So the next heartwarming moment we have, I think, is the culmination of Michael's entire professional arc, and it happens early on in season 5's Michael Scott Paper Company in its entirety. From his impassioned speech to his new boss,
Do you even know how paper is made?
to his quitting story.
Michael, you have no idea how high I can fly.
The highs, the lows, and the final negotiations.
So I don't think I need to wait out Dunder Mifflin. I think I just have to wait out you.
Oh my God! Yes! Can you
The Michael Scott Paper Company arc is one of the most satisfying in the entire series. There's something about the small family that he fostered with Ryan and Pam during the season that is deep and meaningful. And while Michael was perpetually on a quest to get his coworkers to think of him as family, one latecomer to the series really took to Michael as a father figure. Erin and Michael share some sweet moments in the aftermath of Scott's Tots, also in Secretary's Day, and here and thereafter. One moment in particular during the viewing party episode had many fans tearing up. As Michael is insecure and pouty throughout the entire episode due to the friction with his corporate counterpart Gabe, Erin finally confronts Michael outside by the cable box, and they have this exchange.
Why? I'm not your father. All right.
Okay.
Go to your room.
What?
Go to your room, young lady.
The realization hits Michael like a ton of bricks, and the two play the rest of the sequence out playfully rather than dramatically. One of the secrets in writing character change is not just changing how the characters act themselves, but how those characters who are beloved already react to them. In this case, Michael's deep-seated need for family is fulfilled, and he immediately threatens Gabe.
If you break that girl's heart, I will kill you. It's just a figure of speech. But seriously, if you break that girl's heart, I will literally kill you and your entire family.
Michael's love life is something that I've looked a lot into in this channel, but it's definitely the source of much drama and comedy throughout his tenure on the show, between proposing uncomfortably to Carol and his weird on-again, off-again relationship with Jan. There's always some dread hanging over Michael's romances, and there is one such moment that, for me, is full of dysfunction and red flags, and yet there is loyalty and commitment on display with cinematography that is really touching, and it happens in the
I declare bankruptcy!
In the money episode, Michael's broke, and it really comes down to a jobless Jan spending money like they're a dual income home when they're not. Not to mention, Michael is already pretty terrible with his money in the first place. Instead of dealing with his problems head on, though, he heads out to the train tracks seen on every rooftop scene throughout the series, and he decides to turn tail and run instead of owning up to his problems. Jan talks him off the ledge in a very passionate speech about how Michael sticks it out with her.
No matter how badly I treat you or what I'm going through, you are there for me. And that is a guy worth staying beside.
Through the dread, the dysfunction, and the red flags, this moment still somehow gets me every single time I watch the series. But it might have something to do with Melora Hardin's dramatic acting chops.
I guess that makes me the devil.
But from dysfunction to whatever this is, Michael and Holly's relationship is like peanut butter and jelly.
PB&J. What a waste.
Fans of Michael were extremely happy to see him happy with who we thought might be his new HR nemesis, but the sheet was ripped out from underneath all of us, and that sent Michael spiraling for quite a while. When Toby has to cover up his own stranglings, Holly is back for a brief assignment in Scranton. Quickly, Michael and Holly are back together as a couple, warming our hearts, but also overwhelming is how I'd describe this moment in the garage sale episode.
Marrying me, will you be?
It's a beautiful sequence that the writers and directors let these actors live in without undercutting the weight and the charm of the sequence, too quickly at least. Its appeal is getting the picture of a man who's finally getting what he's longed to have for years on end. And yet for us, we know the weight of this moment. It creates ambivalence or like mixed feelings within fans knowing that Michael is soon departing from the series. The writers wanted to justify Michael's departure with something that really felt worthy of the heart and soul he brought to the show. And this sequence with the crowd of coworkers huddled around as the audience, it definitely worked. Speaking of Michael's coworkers, this next heartwarming moment was as much a love letter from his subordinates as it was from his fellow actors. Appropriately, Michael's Last Dundies event ends up getting the boot from its original location. His staff, normally ready to jet from any company endeavors as soon as possible, suggests that they go back up to the office to wrap up this event. Unbeknownst to Michael and the real-life Steve Carell, that they actually had something special in store for him.
Something's happening.
The shock and the emotions are so heavy with everyone in the room, and that's because it's all overlapping reality and fiction here. It's a shock to Carell and to Michael Scott at the same time, and it's a beautiful moment.
Well, this is gonna hurt like a mother.
Coming into the home stretch,
That's what she said.
we have all of Michael's goodbyes in the Goodbye Michael episode. This includes those which were rushed,
Whether you're scared of dying, or dying alone, or dying drunk in a ditch, don't be. It's going to be okay.
those which were merely jokes,
I made you this. Thank you, Michael.
those who had deep referential meaning,
Nice try. This is great. Wow, look at that fine craftsmanship. I love them.
but specifically for goodbyes, just hit us right in the gut. As I talked about already, we get this scene with he and Erin and all of the fatherly vibes that are almost too much to handle. We also get Dwight's reference letter and the subsequent paintball match in the back. The scene with Carell and Krasinski tears me up every time. As Krasinski has said in many interviews, he walked into Michael's office for that first take and just started bawling.
I think you and I counted, I think it was either 17 or 19 takes where there wasn't an audible word that came out. It was just action, and then you and I going, oh!
In universe, this is the culmination of Jim slowly gaining respect for Michael over the years, and Michael finally hearing someone say the words that he's only spoken of himself.
And then tomorrow, I can tell you what a great boss you turned out to be.
I think that pretty much sums it up.
Best boss I ever had.
The episode closes with Pam rushing to see Michael off at the airport. Carell's departure took a heavy toll on the audience of the series, but we can't say that it wasn't fantastically executed.
And just like that, as mysteriously as he arrived, he was gone.
That is until the finale of the series.
Guten Pranken.
Throughout this episode, Jim surprises Dwight with the bachelor party of his dreams, bringing back Andy and Daryl, shooting bazookas, reconnecting Dwight with Kevin, but the one prank that filled the audience and Dwight with tears and laughter alike.
Michael. I can't believe you came. That's what she said.
This moment packed a severe punch the night it aired. It had been years since Carell was on the show, and there was absolutely no signs that he was going to return for the finale. We don't get much of Michael here, just the bit in the dressing room and at the reception.
I feel like all my kids grew up and then they married each other. It's every parent's dream.
For me, hearing Pam give us the recap on Michael being extremely happy is very touching.
He's just so happy to have a family plan.
So that's my list for the most heartwarming Michael Scott moments in the series. Next up, we're going to be talking about the most heartwarming moments between Jim and Pam. And after that, I'm going to be doing a list of deep tracks only. So if you want to contribute to that list, leave your heartwarming deep track moments in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.